Okay, so here's a derivative of inverse AP style question that we did. Just going to go over this real quick. So the question is this, and again, the AP style questions are ones where it's not like, there's a little wrinkle. There's usually a little wrinkle that you have to kind of think through. So for example, this one, okay, if you read this, you say let f of x be this function here, g is the inverse, okay, great. Given f of 0 equals 1, which we'll come back to this, what is the value of g prime of 1? So what you're asked to do is to find the derivative of g the inverse, right? So this is a derivative of inverse question. You identify that, okay, great. Now, we know what the steps are, right? You want to find the derivative of this, because here's the overall sort of formula, right? Yeah. For the derivative. So you want to find the derivative of this, but the wrinkle is this, is that g prime of 1, now this would be the x, this is the x value on the inverse, yeah. So g prime of 1 is the x value on the inverse, so we don't want to put that one in, right? We have to figure out what the y value of the inverse or the x value of the original function. So that's where this comes into play. They actually give you the point. The point on the original function, x, y, is the point 0, 1. You see that? Because that's the 0, that's the y, the x, and that's the y. So we put in the 0 into the the reciprocal of this derivative. Yeah. So we take the derivative of this, which is 3 times 2x plus 1 all squared times 2. That's with the chain rule and power rule and chain rule. We do 1 over that, okay? And then I put in the 0, not the 1. So that's the trick. So don't automatically put in the 1, because that's what people will. That's the original function. Yeah, you want to do the x value of the original. This is the x value of the reciprocal. I'm sorry, of the inverse. So yeah, so if you put in 0 here, then you get 6 on the bottom, and so this is 1 over 6.
I see.
Okay?
So it's not necessarily that there's a different layer, it's just that they word it.
Yeah, they'll word it differently. They'll kind of like present you with, hey, g prime of 1. So somebody might think, oh, okay, I'll do 1 over the derivative, and I'll put 1 in there, because that's what they're looking for. But then, but the derivative, okay, at the x equals 1 on the inverse function is actually, that's actually the y value of the original, and we want the x value of the original to put into that. So yeah, so this is just one thing. Now, we've done examples where you weren't given this either, right? You weren't given this either, and you had to figure out, is this 1? Okay, so I have to figure out what the other value is, right? So you would let y on the original function equal 1, and then, so you have to figure out what the x is there. Yeah. Right? Cube root, subtract 1, blah, 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 5 by 2, and you find it 0. So you might have to figure that out too. But anyway, okay, so for all of you now, here's a new question. I'm going to zoom in here a little bit. Here's a new question for you to work on. Very similar, I think. I'm just going to, oh shoot, give me a second. So again, the question here, this is another sample for you guys to try now. Go ahead and do this one, given what we just learned.